Hi everyone, I'm Turkadevi Sokalingam. Today I'm going to talk about a powerful tool used in a leadership development, the MBTI Leadership Assessment, also known as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. The title of my presentation is Empowering Personal Growth Through the MBTI Leadership Assessment. In this session, I'll explain how the MBTI helps individuals understand themselves better, improves their leadership capabilities, and develop emotional intelligence, all of which are essential traits for effective, authentic leaders. Leadership isn't just about managing others, it starts with understanding ourselves, our values, our thinking patterns, our behavior. All of these influence the way we lead. This is why personality assessments like the MBTI are so useful in leadership development. The MBTI or Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is a well-known tool that helps identify our leadership tendencies and communication styles. It gives us insight into how we make decisions, how we interact in groups, and how we respond to challenges. More importantly, MBTI doesn't just highlight our strengths, it also reveals our potential blind spots, areas where we might struggle, or perspective we might overlook. This kind of awareness is critical in leadership because it helps us improve our decision making and manage our behavior in a more intentional way. By using the MBTI, we are able to gain a clear understanding of who we are as leaders and how others may perceive us. The assessment supports personal growth by making us more self aware, and with self awareness, we become more adaptable, more confident, and more emotionally intelligent in our leadership roles. In our course, Leadership Development Skills and Group Dynamics, we explore the MBTI not just in theory but in a practical hands-on way. We begin by learning about the MBTI framework, which is based on four main dichotomies. These are extraversion versus introversion, which explores where we draw our energy from, sensing versus intuition, which explains how we take in and focus on information. Thinking versus feeling, which shows how we make decisions, and judging versus perceiving, which reflects how we approach structure and planning. Each person tends to lean naturally toward one end of each dichotomy, and when these preferences are combined, they form one of 16 personality types like ENFJ, ISTP, or INFP. Each of these types brings its own set of strengths, leadership qualities, and communications patterns. As part of the course, we completed the MBTI assessment ourselves. After answering a series of questions, we receive a personalized profile that analyzes our own MBTI type. This report helps us identify how we lead, how we interact in teams, how we resolve conflict, and how we communicate under pressure. Beyond self-awareness, we also learn how MBTI influences leadership on team level. For example, we explore how different MBTI types approach conflict, how they manage deadlines, and how they motivate others. This was particularly useful in helping us understand how to collaborate with people who think and behave differently from us. At the end of this process, we were asked to create a personal leadership plan based in our MBTI results. This included goals to strengthen our weaker areas, build our strengths, and become more effective leaders through small focused actions tailored to our personality type. Now, let's take a look at how the MBTI assessment actually works. The assessment itself consists of a series of multiple choice questions designed to uncover your natural preferences. These questions are based on real life situations. For example, one of the questions might be, you feel energized when interacting with a group of people. You would then respond on a scale ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Each response reflects a tendency toward one of the 8 personality dimensions. The assessment covers 4 key areas. The first is extraversion versus introversion, which identifies whether you get your energy from social interaction or solitude. The second is sensing versus intuition, which tells us whether you prefer detailed, concrete information or patterns and big picture thinking. The third is thinking versus feeling, which shows whether you make decisions using logic and objectivity or empathy and values. Finally, judging versus perceiving explores whether you like structure, routines, or prefer flexibility and spontaneity. After completing the assessments, you are given a 4-letter personality code such as ENFP, ISTJ, or INFJ. Each code corresponds to a detailed profile that outlines your leadership styles, prefer working conditions, communication styles, and common challenges. This information becomes extremely valuable for personal development. For example, if someone is an ENFP known to be exhaustive and people oriented, they might work on staying more focused and structured. Meanwhile, someone who is an ISTJ, very organized and practical, might practice being more open to new, creative ideas. In leadership development, this kind of insight helps us become more intentional. It allows us to adjust our behavior based on the situations and the people we are working with, which is what good leadership is all about. Last but not least, the empathy is a tool that helps us lead from a place of self awareness and understanding. It gives us a framework for reflecting on our leadership behavior, not just what we do, but why we do it that way. This kind of self knowledge allows us to make better choices, build stronger relationships, and grow as leaders. Through the empathy, we learn how we think, how we decide, and how we lead. We also learn how we recognize the impact we have on others. This is important because leadership isn't just about being in charge, it's about influencing and inspiring others in a positive, respectful way. Empathy also encourages us to continue learning and growing. It doesn't stop with the assessment, it opens the door to ongoing improvement through reflection, feedback, and actions. Whether we are managing a team, resolving conflict, or making a big decision, empathy gives us the clarity and confidence to lead with purpose. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my talk on empowering personal growth through the MBTI leadership assessments. I hope it provided a meaningful insight into how personalities awareness can strengthen leadership skills and support personal growth. If you are interested in learning more, you can visit www.mbtileadershipassessment.com for resources and the actual test. I'm Trukadevi Sokalingam signing off. Thank you.